Okay, ladies and gents, boys and girls, happy Tuesday, December the 13th, 2022. Hope you're all doing well. Chris Phillips here, the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. Appreciate you all tuning in. Really briefly, guys, let's take, obviously, this morning, the passing of Mike Leach. And while he's not someone that was a Gamecock necessarily, influential in the college football community. So I definitely want to take a moment of silence to observe the late, great Mike Leach. All right. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Thanks so much. I see Hudson, Justin, Gene Lott, Jimmy Clark, C. Youngblood, Zach C. Luke, Gene, Ronnie Pace, Travi, Hughes, Brennan M., Hunter Kelly. What's going on? Appreciate you all tuning in. Todd Smith, John Edward. Also, those in the Big Cock Club Discord, have the TDC Questions channel. The TDC Questions channel, be sure your questions are answered there. We do have a lot to get into here on this Tuesday. What a wild Monday it was in Gamecock Nation, man. From Marshawn Lloyd hitting the portal, the Dowell Loggins news, anything and everything in between. I mean, it was absolute madness from start to finish yesterday. And hopefully today maybe things slow down a little bit. But the Board of Trustees meeting today, I would imagine Dowell Loggins' contract will officially be approved today. So again, we will stay tuned and kind of see what's going on with that. But again, guys, I do want to hear from you all in the meantime. 843-790-3377. Also, really exciting. We got a good buddy of mine. I've been on his show before. The Hog Talk. Okay. The Hog Talk will join us at 12:50. Of course, from the Arkansas side of things, he will help us break down the Dowell Loggins hire, and he is someone that is high on Dowell Loggins. So, again, really excited to chat with him, get some of that insight, and just see what he has to say. Let's go ahead, guys, and jump into the phone lines.
Call from
Hunter.
Hunter, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. What about you?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you asking. What's up?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I guess we have a wide receiver, not Trey Knox, but the other wide receiver that we're supposed to target that might be coming to us from Arkansas.
That's news to me, then, my guy. I don't know. I mean, I think Trey Knox is definitely it's probably like the worst kept secret right now. I think Trey Knox is definitely going to come to South Carolina. I would think follow Dowell Loggins along. I don't know anything else about a receiver or anything else.
Yeah, no, that's all I needed to ask. I just didn't know if that was true or not. So
no idea, to be honest with you. Yeah, I appreciate it, Hunter. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Yeah, great stuff from Hunter. The phone volume, by the way, is all the way up. So, guys, make sure that when you call, you are speaking into your phone microphone. You're speaking loudly. You're speaking clearly so that people can hear and understand you. Chase Youngblood, happy birthday, my friend. Yeah, how about this, guys? A year ago to the date is when the Gamecocks got Spencer Rattler. So, crazy stuff. What a year it's been, and I guess the rest has been history since he joined the Gamecocks this time last year. I'll never forget this time last year when I did the show and went live when he committed, and just the chaos and the madness. And I think that was the most watched live stream of any kind that I've ever done. Dude, I remember looking up at one point, we had like 2,000 people tuned in live. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I think a pregame or a postgame show or both would be really, really cool on a Carolina football game day, because it's, just everybody's locked in, right? Everybody's tuned in. Everybody wants more content. So maybe one day we'll do that. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Hunter Kelly, if you look back on your old videos, you look way different. Yeah, Hunter. Well, it's called the glow up, my friend. I've probably lost 60 or 70 pounds since 2019. Also the mullet's been something that's developed over the last year.
From
Phil Harris.
The glow up, my friend. Let's jump back to the phone lines.
Tick.
Phil, what's up, man? How are you?
Pretty good, my brother. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Appreciate you asking. What's up?
First and foremost, rest in peace, Mike Leach, my favorite college football personality. It offensive genius,
just what a character. Guy was trained as a lawyer, didn't play college football, was a rugby player, as a matter of fact. So, that's where he gets that like crazy personality. Played rugby at BYU in college, not football. Just, mastermind, absolute amazing. My favorite coach in college football history. Just, I hate it for his family and the whole Mississippi State community, man. It's a real shame. We've lost a good one for sure. With that being said, just wanted to, say about the transfer portal. Boy, I hate being right all the time about this whole change in landscape in college football. I mean, it's kind of cool when your team gets these excellent players, but it really sucks when you lose guys. And Spencer Rattler, since today is the day that 1 year ago he decided to come to Carolina, his situation is different in the sense that he lost his starting job and wanted to, start somewhere fresh. These two guys that we've lost, basically, people, they seem in demand based on their ability level, and they showed it to a certain extent at Carolina, and then they're going to go chase the money within college. So I think that's the difference. Both of these guys would be starters at Carolina if they had stayed, presumably. And it's not like they lost their starting position or the coach changed and, the new coach didn't want them and that sort of thing. All of that stuff I think is great for college football. If you lose your starting job, if your head coach leaves and the new guy thinks you're a bum or whatever, you can go start fresh somewhere else. But showing your talents and then going somewhere. And by the way, FSU, great history, program in the ACC that's won a lot of ACC championships over the years, national titles, all that sort of stuff. They're not a bigger program than Carolina is right at this moment. They're on the come up again, which is good for them. But it's all about money. So I guess they can spend more money than we can, and get with the NIL stuff. It's a big mess, man. And again, the likability, as you said, is decreased in college football since this whole thing got started. I don't have a problem with guys like if the university's selling their number on for their jerseys or whatever, getting a little piece of that pie, no big deal. But this sort of stuff is just off-putting. It's vomit-inducing, and it just makes me like it less ultimately. So.
Yeah, I mean, I give you credit, Phil. You did call it. I feel like when this all came out, you've been pretty open about your stance on it from the jump. But I do agree with you, obviously, and I know it's easy to say it now that it's making college football less likable. Now, I think college football university is still very well liked. But I mean, if you honest analysis, is it more likable or less likable? I think when you're bringing a sense of when you're taking away amateurism from college athletics and specifically college football, it's going to make it less likable. And to your point, I think that's because I'm all about the portal. I'm somebody, I transferred, right? I transferred in college, and it was after 3 years of being at a place, and my coach that recruited me got fired for my freshman year, and I just wanted to change and wanted to switch up, and I needed it. I wasn't happy. Like, I just truly was not happy. And so for that reasoning, and like you mentioned, Spencer Rattler guy loses his job and, betters his situation. Nobody is against anybody bettering their own situation. But to your point, like when star players who are starters and playing time's not an issue, and those guys are up and leaving, and maybe it's not the number one reason, although I'd argue I do think it's the number one reason for most guys, but, they're up and leaving for the bag. They're up and leaving for NIL, which to your point, I think, because people ask me all the time, do I like NIL? And my answer is immediately yes. But then I have to stop and say, I think I like NIL in the sense of what I thought it was going to be. I liked NIL. Maybe it's a past tense thing, but because I thought of NIL as, like you mentioned, guys can make money off jersey sales, or if I want to give a player $100 for an autograph, or if I want to collab with a player for merchandise and put some money back in his pocket, cool. But this notion of putting guys on a payroll and bankrolling guys 6 figures or 7 figures, God forbid, that's just not what that's not what I imagined and envisioned with NIL, and that's unfortunately what it's become. Like Jaheim Bell ain't leaving for Florida State for a t-shirt deal. He's leaving for a minimum 6 figures. We know that. You know what I mean? Right. We know that Spencer Rattler and more power to us, but we know Spencer Rattler made over $1.5 million in NIL this past year. You know, like the money's significant. Like it's not just some, let's collab on a t-shirt deal. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
it's real crazy numbers. So yeah, it's, you know, it's and we all knew this when you look at sports, right? Like that's why Friday Night Lights is so great in high school sports, because it's the guys you grew up with, and you're truly playing for your hometown, the name on the front of the jersey, not the back. Like you're playing for that school, and again that hometown, if you will. And as you go up in levels, the game loses a little bit of innocence as you go up each level, right? It was from high school to college. It was like it starts to become, and I can even say this from playing at the D2 level, like it's more like a job, like it's more like a business than it is just playing around with your buddies. Then obviously you go to the next level and you go to the pros, and it's all a business, right? That's all you do. That's what you get paid to do. But it's like college is just, now college football is becoming so much more like the NFL. And a lot of people loved college football because it wasn't the NFL in many ways. And
yeah, absolutely.
yes, I mean, and it's you know, it doesn't affect all of the players in college football. It doesn't affect most, right? But it's just, again, like you're mentioning, when you have your star players leaving, and I think one of the things that'll make college football stand the test of time, or one of the many things, is, you know, you just look at the pageantry and the tradition, and like your degree will forever say the University of South Carolina. Like you'll forever be a Gamecock. But I think the one thing that has changed so drastically, that made like pulling for a college team in the early 2000s or the 90s or any other time, was like these guys that came to school and became legends, and guys who stuck it out 3, 4, 5 years, and you became attached to. And it's just, my advice to fans would be, you know, continue to pull for the Gamecocks. Obviously, attach yourself. You're already attached if you're listening to this, but attach yourself to the Garnet and Black and the Block C and Williams-Brice Stadium in 2001 and Sandstorm, because you know those things are going to be there every single year, forever and ever. Amen.
Right.
But as far as players, man, I don't know how wise it is anymore to get too attached to guys that South Carolina signs or brings in, because it just might be a one-year experience, because the portal and NIL guys might be shopping themselves on a yearly basis. You don't know, you know, so it's just unfortunate, but it's
one
just the
thing
truth.
that's kind of one thing that's kind of a bummer to think about is, you know, obviously so many passionate fans for Carolina, and we're in the best conference in the whole nation, and all this sort of stuff that Carolina has going for it. But if our star players are going elsewhere where they can get more money, then we're just a feeder university for them to highlight their talents to go somewhere else. And that is super sad, man. Like, if that is the way it works out forever and ever, then that's just a real shame, because South Carolina deserves greatness based on its fan support and everything else that it has going for it. But if we're just building up players to be great for other universities, that's a real shame. One thing I did want to really quickly touch on before I get off of here, I was watching a lot of my old high school football. They're doing like live streams for every single game, which is awesome, on YouTube. And I watched a lot of it. And I was wondering, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? I haven't been back to my high school in, like, 15 years or whatever. Why am I watching this? And I think it really comes down to the innocence of that game. It is really compelling to me, and they had a great year. I'm going to give them a shout out. Kings Mountain Mountaineers, Kings Mountain High School in Kings Mountain, North Carolina, made it all the way to like the fourth round of the playoffs and didn't lose a game until that last game. And it was fun to watch. And it's just a real shame that Carolina's not really that anymore.
Yeah.
That's all I got for you today. Go Cox.
Phil, I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for the call. And I'll say this too, and I appreciate Phil, and I know some of you, Phil is not your cup of tea, but I think what Phil says a lot of the time is blunt, straight to the point. That's why he and I get along so well. And yeah, it's college football's changed. It's just changed forever. And I'm someone that I love it from the sense of, and obviously I selfishly love the game, and I love college football from the content perspective and the entertainment perspective. And I mean, who doesn't love watching football, watching the games? And I'm a Gamecock through and through, but it is different. I mean, it just is different. And I'm not saying that. Things were so much better back in the day where guys just could not transfer, and they were getting screwed over by the NCAA. And I mean, that's really whose fault it is. It's the NCAA's fault that they could not make the simple, easy adjustments that were right in front of their face. Like, it's not hard to allow guys to monetize their name, image, or likeness from things like jersey sales that are being sold in the bookstore, when it's like obvious who these people are that they're selling for. You see what I'm saying? Like, because of the NCAA's negligence, it's now led to, doors are wide open, and that now there's just there's no control at all, and it's just shit's hit the fan. Let's jump back to the phone lines. Aaron, what's up, man? How are you?
Oh man, it's early over here, 9 in the a.m. I'm just listening to some of the guys talk about NIL, transfer portal, and all of this stuff. Talking about passion. Listen, man, give those boys their money, and I hope they go. I want them to go to the highest bidder. I want them to get every last dollar that they can, because after they take all of those hits and those boys are busted and disgusted, a lot of them don't have anything to show for. Now that could be their fault, and that is their own fault if they don't take advantage of the opportunity they've been given. But thousands of people thousands of people go broke in America every day. So, that ain't none of our business. I'm glad these guys are finally getting paid, because the system has worked them for so long. And it's funny how people can't stand socialism except they want it in college football. I just wanted to get on and talk a little trash, man. I'm still listening to you, brother.
No, I hear you, man. I hear you. I just, I hear you 100%. I'm all for the guys getting their money, by the way. I'll say that. The joke's on, to me, the joke's on these people who are willing to pay it. And if somebody's willing to cut you that check and give you that money, we sit on our side and we give our thoughts and opinions on it. But if somebody's willing to give you $1 million to come to their school, man, loyalty bump that. You'd be a fool not to take it, right? Realistically, you'd be a fool not to take it. You would. You'd be crazy.
Who would turn that? Who would turn? Not even. I'm not saying $1 million. Who would turn money that coming out of high school? A lot of people are or I shouldn't say disadvantaged. I should say some people come from a position of, they don't have much wealth. Let's just say that they haven't acquired much wealth, and they don't have a lot of. Well, that's it. They haven't had any amount of money to like make a difference to anyone.
Yeah.
And if somebody's going to give it to them, take it. And all of these people who call in or opine about how much they love South Carolina, if Clemson offered them that money, they take it. So get every last cent you can get, especially if somebody's going to freaking cash it, give you the check to cash. Yeah. Have a good day, man.
Aaron, I appreciate you always bringing the heat, man. Thank you. Great stuff from Aaron. I love when he calls in. That's great stuff. I guess what's just listening to that, what's just really unfortunate is to think that it's just all about money. But, granted, money is what makes the world go round. And, it's I get it. I get it. When you think about the players and the families as well, and what they come from. And I'll tell you guys this. I've never been an SEC football player, obviously, or a D1 athlete for that matter. But I've been broke before. I've been broke. Like, I know what it's like to make $50 last 5 days. Like, waiting on payday. Like, I know what that feels like. And so I know what it feels like having no money, like none, right? To literally be living paycheck to paycheck, be making life decisions at the pump, be making life decisions at the grocery store. So for the guys that are in those type of situations that, that they want to chase the bag and get NIL and change their families' lives, like, I totally get it. I guess what's frustrating for Carolina fans is, like, we know that South Carolina would have been able and is able to pay guys like Marshawn Lloyd or Jaheim Bell if that's what it's about. So I guess what sucks is the fact that they're picking up their ball and going elsewhere and taking their money instead of taking our money, right? But I don't blame a kid for taking an IL, because it goes, again, guys, it goes so much further than just, thinking it's all about greed or whatever. Like, this is life-changing money for a lot of guys. I mean, it is. I don't love how it's all about money, but for, again, some of these guys, where they come from, what they go through to get to this point, right? Yeah, and I think Coleman makes a great point when it comes to college football. That's the interesting thing too, right? Like college football, even before this NIL and transfer portal stuff, even with NIL and the transfer portal stuff, has college football ever been like amateurism? Has it truly been amateur? I mean, there's so much money with the TV deals and what the universities are getting and what the coaches are getting paid. And it's like the players were the only ones not getting a slice. You know what I mean? They were the only ones not getting a slice. Lee Hopkins. A lot of people have been asking about Lenora Sellers. Guys, I have not watched him in person. I have not really even seen hardly any tape. I mean, has Shane Beamer offered him? Number one, have we offered him? I mean, I'd love to have him come. Obviously, he's a great player in the state. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's up to Beamer and company to get him to Cola. But yeah, Lenora Sellers, great player. I mean, obviously, would love to have him. Let's turn to the phone lines.
Call from
Brian Bennett.
Brian, what's up, man?
What's up, my dude? How's it going today?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you asking. What's going on?
Not much. But I was calling, man. Like, I just wish, that I'm over the criticism part of this whole transfer portal thing, and we got to learn. It's a pros and cons to it, man. Let's celebrate the ones who's coming in. And I feel like this for every 4 or 5 star that's leaving our program. Look at that portal, man. It's filled with young 4 or 5 stars. They get the opportunity and let Shane people go to work, man. Like I don't want to get caught up of, oh man, Marshawn leaving. He was a freaking redshirt junior. Same with Jaheim Bell. Like, we got to understand that we got young talent on our roster, and I think people get caught up in I just believe that our staff have a certain type, man. Is Jaheim Bell was he a great route runner? No. Did he have trajectory? Yes, he did. But there's just things I think we get caught up in as a fan base and not look at for what it is. Like, look, man, like Shane's a proven recruiter. Let's start celebrating on what we could become and just get over the spoiled milk at this point now. And I agree with Aaron too, man. Like, if anybody that's tune in, they're gonna take the money and run too at this point. Sorry. Like, that's just reality of the situation. They're gonna get the money. Especially, like I said, those guys are 22 or 23 years old. They're looking to get paid at this point.
Yeah.
Now, my question to you: do you think the NCAA, because there's so many? I mean, it's over. Got to be over. Well over 1,500 kids in the transfer portal. Do you think the NCAA going to do something to try to alter that, to reduce the numbers?
I think the NCAA would be crazy not to do something. Like, not to make some sort of adjustment. Again, I like the portal and I like NIL. I just think when you couple the two, it's a slippery slope and it can get a little messy. So, but I don't know anybody that would think that just a wide open, free range system with no systems in place at all, no regulations. I don't know how that anybody could think that's the way to go, because it's only going to get crazier. Like, it's only going to get, because that's the interesting thing with NIL, right? Is like, at least in pro sports, there's a salary cap and guys' salaries are pretty out, they're out there, and you know what a guy's making, and there's market value for certain guys. Dude, we're just making up numbers as we go along right now. You know what I mean? So, I think there's got to be, I don't know exactly how you do it, because again, now you can't put the genie back in the bottle, right? You can't go back. And I wonder if the NCAA, if they could go back, would they just have never legalized any of this? Because now it's just created almost more of a headache. But, I think they got to make some sort of adjustment. I don't have the answers. Thankfully, I'm not the one in charge. There's people much smarter than me that are in charge at the highest level that can make those decisions. But I think you got to do something. I don't know exactly what the answer is, but you got to do something. And
people just see it. And people just see the football side of it.
my kid plays baseball. He's going to school to play baseball next year, and with the transfer portal open, you have like almost 80 kids on a baseball roster. You know what I'm saying? And people gotta realize like it don't just affect football. It affects the whole grand scheme of college athletics period. And like it's a monster out there, man. When you go look at rosters, we're talking baseball side now, just have 80 kids coming in. You have freaking 23 to 25-year-olds that's transferring from a D1 school, to another D1 school, and you got an incoming freshman that get no playing time. But I just think from that standpoint, like it's a lot of cons to that, but at the same time, the pros of giving the people the ability to leave and that freedom and stuff like that, you have young kids get a chance to develop. Like I would hate to be like a kid, certain people in a roster that we feel obligated to play, and you got a kid that like Landon Sampson don't get a chance to develop. You know what I'm saying? I'm just eager to see the young talent that recruited.
Yeah, no, I am too. I think yesterday it was more so, everything hitting at once with, the Marshawn Lloyd news. And then, of course, Jaheim Bell happening last week. And he announces yesterday he committed to Florida State. And I think that shook up people, right? When again, these players that people get attached to were hitting the portal. But realistically, to your point, I mean, we'll be fine. I mean, we can – all due respect to those guys, we can go find a tight end that can haul in 500 yards receiving, and we can go find a running back that can go run for 600 yards in a year. I mean, we can. It ain't that hard. That's those numbers are not that outrageous. Neither guy was all conference. So we can go find replacements. I just think it's – again, I think it more so comes from like the personal selfish, like I'm attached to this player. Why would they leave? Feeling like you're almost like betrayed or something like that. I understand that. I really do. But no, from the football side of things, like looking at 2023, we'll be fine. There are plenty of guys in the portal we can replace. We've got young guys that are waiting there for their opportunity that, I think could play good for us. So I think we'll be fine on that side of things for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, all right. Well, let's go watch I'm calling it the backup bowl game. We play every backup this week, this bowl game. So it's Notre Dame, the backup bowl game.
Bro, I'm so ready to start talking actual football and get off this NIL transfer portal shit. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man.
I totally agree, man.
Yeah, I'm ready to talk about the Gator Bowl, man. I'm excited for the bowl game.
Hey, brother, positive note. Hey, business is booming. You got a lot of content, brother.
No, I do. I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it, but I'm excited to talk the on-field stuff. But no, it's crazy what December has turned into. It kind of used to be just sort of a chill downtime. Bowl season's about to start this week, and dude, it's turned into straight up free agency chaos. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. But like you said, the beauty's in the banter. I mean, content's booming. So, we'll keep rocking.
All right, brother.
Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate the call.
All right.
Thanks so much. Great stuff. Yeah, listen, I mean, I love it. I mean, I love from the content side, but it's like I'd so much rather just be talking ball. You know what I mean? Like talking kickoff, making predictions, making picks, and instead it's just pure chaos and madness and mania. But it is what it is. So, guys, 843-790-3377. Jonathan says you can't go find a Jaheim Bell replacement. 500 yards receiving is an understatement of what he meant to the team. Jonathan, 500 yards receiving is exactly what he did. So, yeah, I think we can go find another Jaheim Bell. Yeah, we can. Or we can just go find a player to go give us the production he gave us. And I understand he wasn't utilized right. I'll be very curious to see what he does at Florida State. I mean, I think he's a talented player, but it didn't like we're just, oh my God, we're doomed. I mean, a lot of people thought he wouldn't be back next year anyways. Like if he had the year he was supposed to have, he and Marshawn Lloyd both, if they both had the years that we were expecting them to have, we weren't expecting them back in 2023 anyways. So, I mean, I hate to see them go, but we'll be fine. From the football side of things, I'm not overly concerned. I think we'll be fine. So, what's crazy is that because of all this portal stuff, NIL stuff, like somehow the hiring of Dowell Loggins has become a footnote. I mean, that's what's wild. Anyways, let's jump to the phone lines.
Call from
D.
What's up, man? How are you?
Yeah, what's going on, Chris, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you asking. What's up?
Yeah, man, I just wanted to call in real quick and say, this whole transfer portal NIL thing, it's going to balance out, man. it's like the beginning stages of a relationship. It's still the honeymoon phase. What a lot of these guys don't realize yet is there are 700 players after the first 24 hours in the portal. They're playing musical chairs in a lot of senses. You still got to go in, learn that new system. And there are still people on the roster that you don't know whether you can beat out yet. So I think eventually it's gonna simmer down.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. Everything, in any walk of life, it seems like the numbers sort of always even themselves out. You know what I mean? Like everything, the pendulum swings back the other way, right? So, no, I mean, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because for the players, I mean, I agree with you. I think for the transfer portal, it's going to work out beautifully for a number of guys, but it's also going to work out miserably for some. Like it is. There's going to be a lot of guys that don't have anywhere to go play. At least
when the music.
I was just going to say, at least in regards to playing at the SEC or Power 5 or even D1 level, I think a lot of guys are going to have to go down levels, and I mean, it's just the reality of it.
Yeah, definitely. When the music stops, it ain't going to be enough chairs.
Yeah, exactly. So grass isn't always greener on the other side. That's a fact.
All right. Well, keep doing your show, man.
So, hey, man,
have a good one.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for the call.
All right.
Great stuff. Columbus, Ohio, by the way. Shout out that. Columbus, Ohio. David Jackson last year, 47.7% didn't find another school to even play at or be able to play at the same level they did before. Yeah, I mean, I would say this, David, to that point, again, 47.7%. I wonder if they didn't find a school like in regards to like the same level, because I'm sure many guys could go. I mean, see, that's the thing. Like you don't have to play in the SEC. You don't have to play at Power 5. You don't have to play at D1. Bro, you can go be a good football player and get drafted at Newberry. You can go get it. You can be a good football player and get drafted at, Watford, Furman. Like, there's plenty of great schools in the state, or just all across, to go play at. So, my guy Brian Lattimore just sent me a screenshot. It seems like the parking spots in Lot J outside of the stadium in Jacksonville are not very cheap. Let's put it that way. Guys, we've got Cox vs. Catholics merch dropping later today. I do apologize if you saw the original post. Threw it up there and realized we screwed up on the year on the graphic on the merch. So took that down. We're going to get that replaced, and I'll have that up later today. But if you order by Friday, we'll actually say, let's see. Maybe Saturday. I think if you order by Saturday, we can guarantee by bowl game delivery, which obviously if you're ordering this bowl game merch, you're going to want it for the bowl game. But it's fire. This Cox vs. Catholics design, simple to the point, less is more, but it is fuego. So just stay tuned for later today. Stay tuned later today, and the merch will drop. And, appreciate y'all, your love and support on the merchandise side of the business. Let's jump back to the phone lines here.
Call from
Martin, what's up, man? How are you?
What's up?
Hey, what's up, man?
I was flipping through the channels this morning, and I was listening to the theme song on SEC Network, and I saw your Beamer Ball towels, man. That kind of feel pretty good to see your stuff on the theme song on the SEC song. You know what I mean? Cool.
That's our guy Connor McComish, by the way, big Cock Club member, local legend. But no, it's a it's a cool thing, man, and it's I'm just grateful and thankful that we have the opportunity to make that kind of splash and that type of positive impact to push that type of value out there for South Carolina fans, because that's really what it's all about. It's about providing, giving a value add to Gamecock Nation, something that is something you can't walk in the bookstore and buy, right? That's what I try to do with merchandise and branding and everything in between. So, it's really cool, man. And it's something that, I tell people all the time, there's things that happen along the journey that you can't really plan or you don't really expect to happen. And so the towels were something where I was like, I just thought to myself, I was like, this is something where towels are a huge part of game day. And, I thought, why not? We'll throw some towels. Not a lucrative venture by any means. Not trying to cash in on something crazy. But the way they've blown up and taken off has just been truly a blessing, man. So it's really cool.
Right. Well, tell me this: has there ever been any offensive coordinators that have stunk it up in the NFL and come to college football and actually had a pretty good run, did well? We got anything we can look at to kind of give us a little hope,
Yeah, not off the top of my head. Not off the top of my head. Not that I'm aware of necessarily.
Yeah.
So I think listen, I don't think looking at Loggins' resume is going to give you any warm and fuzzy feelings. I think it all really the number one selling point for this guy. And again, we're getting my Arkansas buddy on here in about 15 minutes to learn more about this guy. But I think you just have to trust Shane Beamer at this point, man. That's kind of all you got. I mean, I hate to say that, but that's kind of all we got. So Shane Beamer knows ball. He knows ball more than you or I or anybody else tuning into this show probably does. And you just got to trust that he's got he's got a master plan and see something that maybe we don't.
Well, I hope it works out. I'm on his side. Anyways, I'm looking forward to the Arkansas guy explaining some things for us. I appreciate you taking my call, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. I appreciate the call. Thanks so much.
Right.
Yeah, man. Take care. No, really, really cool stuff. And again, shout out my guy Connor McComish. I see you tuned in, but no, it's I was asked by Mark Ryan about that yesterday too, and it's truly a blessing, man. I mean, the the expansion of the business and monetary gain. I've always looked at money as the byproduct. You know what I mean? I've maybe made, not to get too far off on a tangent, but I've maybe made 1% of decisions revolving around money, like that being the lead thing. So it's about providing value to Gamecock Nation and to those who consume our content and love the Gamecocks. And I'm just grateful we've been able to do that. Let's jump back to the phone lines here.
Call from
Frank.
Frank, what's up, man? How are you?
How you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you asking. What's going on?
I just want to reach out. Me, Mike Leach and his family. I'm wishing them the best. That's a loss for more than football, the entire planet. I was better with him on it. So prayers for his family, and hopefully that turns out, better days for them.
Yeah, it's definitely prayers up to the Leach family and the Mississippi State community and everybody that loved the Pirate, man. It's tough. It's just tough. So it's wild. I mean,
quite entertaining.
Never would have expected it.
Yeah, it's a tragedy. We move on to this Jaheim Bell situation. We're not going to mention it anymore because 2 words: Trey Knox. So that's over.
Indeed.
That's a wash. This is what I believe that Loggins was brought over here for, to maybe bring him and flip another couple of recruits. So that's working out. I'm sure the Arkansas guy you got coming on is going to back that up, because that's when I looked into their stuff. That's what they said. All positive stuff. Marshawn Lloyd, I mean, really uncharacteristic of him. I thought he's a squared away guy, well-spoken, very uncharacteristic of him to handle it with this. And with his cryptic Twitter sympathy, I got to believe that somewhere along the line, somebody might have mentioned the fact that, hey, man, you didn't show up for 4 games. You played for 4. You got a thigh bruise. You haven't had a meaningful snap since Missouri. We're going to be looking for another running back. And I think that's where the sympathy comes in. So I'm wishing well in Maryland. I think that's where he's going. He's going back home. But, I got to believe that we can reproduce the yardage that he came to us with. This whole NIL thing, this is called, what are we renaming this? December Destruction? Is that what we're going to call it, December now?
I think that fits. I like that title.
I mean, the NIL is great. The transfer portal is great. But those 2 things together are an absolute disaster. You're gonna end. The guys. Aaron, I believe he's like, let these guys make their money. Sooner or later, this is going to turn into a business venture. And I don't say that it's not right now, but it's going to be a venture where businessmen are going to start taking control of this, and a businessman is going to win over a football player and his family every time. Yeah, you're going to start seeing NIL contracts based on performance, conditions of, if you don't play in a bowl game, 50% of your contract is gone. Because they're going to want to know, just like any other businessman, that their investment is going to pay off.
Yeah.
So they'll be leaving a place for 70 grand, 80 grand. That might turn into 40 grand up front. We'll see how you do after the Citrus Bowl. And then if everything goes great, you'll get the rest of your money. And then we'll see where we go from there. But I'm looking forward to the Arkansas guy. Have a good day, and I just wanted to get those in quick, and I'll talk to you later.
Frankie the man, I appreciate the call. Great stuff as always. Awesome. Frank's awesome, man. I love that. Guys, we're going to jump into a quick break. On the other side, we are going to get my good friend in from the Hog Talk. He will talk to us about Dowell Loggins and just what we can expect in the Gamecocks' new OC. All that, much more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Again, we are continuing the conversation. We're keeping it rolling. Good from the Hog Talk coming on, I just saw a tweet here. Miles Murphy has opted out of the Orange Bowl for Clem Sucks. So opt-outs hitting them as well. Let's jump to the phone lines.
Call from
Damn, man.
What's up, man? How are you?
Can I get a fire?
Okay, very good. Spider-Man callers are back. I don't know if that's Spider-Man or not. Dude was blowing up my phone, though, trying to get on the line. That's for sure. There we go. All right, cool. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, David, for sure. Again, we are awaiting the official announcement from Gamecock football. I don't really know what's taking so long. I'd imagine they are having the Board of Trustees supposed to be meeting today in regards to the Dowell Loggins contract. Just trying to make sure I haven't missed anything. Yeah, Gamecock football has not said anything about Dowell Loggins. So I'd imagine it'll be over the next 24 hours or so, assuming it is getting finalized today. Again, I'm going to go ahead and close up the phone lines because, like I said, guys, I know we have a lot of questions about Dowell Loggins. And there has been a lot of chatter over the last week, most of it negative. So maybe he can talk us all off a ledge. We got my good friend Porter Hayes here from the Hog Talk jumping on the line. Porter, what's up, man? How you doing?
Not much. Been a while.
Yeah, it has. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal. Just making sure. You're good on our end as well. Again, my friend, I appreciate you taking the time. Obviously, you know why we're bringing you on, man. I want to talk some Dowell Loggins. Give us a rundown. Obviously, this came up middle of last week. It's funny. I was actually, Porter, out to dinner, and I thought to myself, OC search going on, but I can probably get away from Twitter, step away from social media for a while, and boy, was I wrong. All hell breaks loose when it's reported that Dowell Loggins from Arkansas had emerged as the lead candidate to be the Gamecocks' next OC. And my first reaction was, who the hell is that? So what can you tell us about Dowell Loggins? Obviously, he's an Arkansas alumni. But what can you tell us about for those people that maybe have never heard of him? And I think we may have lost Porter there. Let's see if we can get Porter back. I don't know where Porter is.
I'm back.
Okay, cool. Yeah, what can you tell us about Dowell Loggins for those who maybe have just never heard of him?
Well, I mean, he's, like I said, and I've been interacting with your fans the past couple of days, he's an ace recruiter, but he's a very good game planner. I mean, I know he hasn't had the big time experience at calling plays, but he did actually call plays at Miami. He did there for a short time, call the plays for Miami. And if you remember, everybody's basing this off his NFL experience, and everybody, but other than Pete Carroll, who is really, look at Matt Rule. I mean, offensive genius, goes to the NFL and just doesn't do so well. So that's where I'm trying to talk everybody off the ledge, because on the Arkansas side of it, he was going to be in line to take the OC job if Kendall Briles bolted for Miami last year, or if he would have taken another job this year. Sam Pittman chose to stick with Kendall Briles. So, of course, then, Loggins ended up, he's got NFL experience. He knows a lot of people. So he's not going to wait around if he thinks that he should be an OC somewhere. And with him being, Connor Shaw played for him when he was at Cleveland and Chicago. He has relations with Justin Stepp. Justin Stepp just recently come to South Carolina from Arkansas. So you're getting some pieces there, along with Beamer goes to bat for him, that this thing could really work out.
I'll ask you this, Porter. What was your reaction to South Carolina fans' reaction to the Loggins news? I think selfishly, obviously, Gamecock fans, and I said it, right? And I was someone that selfishly, I wanted a name. I wanted someone who would instill confidence in the fan base. I wanted someone who had a proven track record. And as good as you might think Dowell Loggins is, or as great as he might be, he does not have any of that. He's not a name. He doesn't have a proven track record at the college level. He's never even called a play at college. But anyways, we're trusting Shane Beamer. But what's been your thoughts on just because the social media reaction was crazy to say the least. Gamecock Nation went into a frenzy when these rumors started to float around. Your just overall thoughts on the reaction.
And I tell people, if anybody can relate to, and this is what we talked about when you were on our show, if anybody can relate to what the South Carolina fan base is going through, Arkansas fans can relate to. Ever since Bobby Petrino got on the bike, I mean, there's, you've got John L. Smith and Chad Morris. I mean, do I need to keep on going when it comes to these hires that Arkansas had and the misery? We know what it's like. And look at Sam Pittman in general. We thought we were going to get like a Lane Kiffin or a John Gruden. I mean, they're tracking planes in Fayetteville. All these people coming in, and then you get Sam Pittman, who never had any kind of coordinator position, much less head coaching experience. But he ties into what Arkansas, their brand, so they brought him in. So, I mean, we know what it's like to be not disappointed, but when you see all these names, and I know Dan Mullen's name was thrown out there as a possible connection to that. So when you think social media-wise, you see Dan Mullen, we're going to get this guy, and then you have to say settle for Dowell Loggins. I could see the disappointment. But you're getting a guy that has a chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove something that, hey, you should have stuck with me at Arkansas. I should be an OC somewhere. And he's going to run an NFL-style defense. Or an offense. You're not going to get the same – this dude's brilliant when it comes to game planning. I mean, he's going to go in, and we talked about it before. He's going to come in. He's not a system-style coach. He's a concept guy. So what you see against Florida, you're not going to see against Georgia. So it's going to be interesting to see, but you got to have a little faith in knowing if you're all in on Shane Beamer, you've got to really trust in what he's making his decisions and because the biggest thing I remember to take away from our conversation was I told you, I said, South Carolina this year could be the Arkansas of last year. And look what's happened. 8-4 year, brand new coach, second, third year guy. And now you're blowing the roof off the, top 10 wins heading into your bowl game.
Yeah, I wanted you to expand a little bit, Porter, on what you told me earlier, what you just kind of touched on. But I know we were DMing this morning, and you said that he's going to run an NFL-style offense where the quarterback has to read the whole field instead of half, so Rattler's knowledge is about to explode. Now, I'll be honest with you, Porter. I hear that, and we hear NFL-style offense, and I think a lot of folks that are tuned in right now cringe because we heard a lot of the same things, and because we heard a lot of the same things with Marcus Satterfield, and it was extremely complex. It was just too much, and guys couldn't process it. They couldn't grasp it, and when they did finally simplify the offense at the end of the season, that's when they saw their best results. So, again, I'll give you the floor once again to talk about Dowell Loggins. What do you think Gamecock fans can expect from his offense? What is it going to look like? Again, you already said you kind of feel like it's going to be an NFL type of style where, again, a lot of the responsibility is put on Spencer Rattler or whoever is QB1 next year.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. We're looking – I mean, I know Carolina fans are looking at Spencer Rattler, but we're looking beyond that. We're looking not just Spencer Rattler, but who he brings in. He is an amazing recruiter. You've got talent in South Carolina. I mean, South Carolina, the Georgia, North Carolina belt right there in the Columbia area Florida has some of the best pipeline in the nation. And you get some of these guys to come in, and that if you want guys now, especially with the transfer portal, they want to go to the NFL. If you want a guy who can come in and get you to the NFL, look what he's done in Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas coming off 2-10 seasons. Now his class that Dowell is the main recruiter for, they're 16th in the country. 5 years ago, we would have begged for that. So I mean, he knows what he's doing when it comes to recruiting. It's just in the college ranks with this RPO style, you're kind of doing one read, seeing half the field. But this guy is going to come in and make it complex, and it's going to be harder. You think it's complex for the offense, but you're a defensive team. Now you're having to go up against Arkansas or South Carolina and be like, hey, this guy's going to be reading the whole. It's going to be hard to defend once you get that system in place.
Yeah. You know what I think's funny, Porter? I know you guys have probably been getting a good laugh too. I feel like this South Carolina-Arkansas connection where it's like Gamecock fans wanted Kendall Briles. Arkansas fans, they want Kendall Briles the hell out of town. Meanwhile, they love Dowell Loggins. They want to keep him. Gamecock fans are like, we don't want him. Y'all can keep. It's been funny. It's been kind of funny to see that. You know what I mean? Like this Carolina-Arkansas connection where it's like it's truly an example of one man's trash is another man's treasure type deal. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of that's just what comes to my mind when it comes to these OCs and I don't know, these two teams. It's just very
well. We could take it to the next level of look at your frustrations with Satterfield. We were having the same play calling frustrations with Briles. There was just a lot of things that with the play calling, especially later on in the year, if you're trying to run trick plays or hey, let's line the tight end up under center and run something on 4th and goal or 3rd and goal. If you're doing that late in the season, what does that say about where you are as an offense? If you don't know your identity, so that's where our frustration is with the play calling. And that's where it is laughable because it is when you look at the tight ends coach, you see him as just the tight ends coach. KJ Jefferson progressed underneath Dowell Loggins. We've seen, you know, the just because Kendall Briles calls the plays, Dowell Loggins has been the one that has really helped KJ Jefferson become the quarterback that he is.
Do you feel like the concerns from South Carolina fans are justified? Because I would tell you this. I would tell you this because I have heard a lot of positive things about Dowell Loggins. I want to be fair. It hasn't just been all negative. Like I've heard many, many different things from yourself, other Arkansas folks, you know, football people who were in the game. I still, Porter, label it as I think it's a risky hire. I think it's a roll of the dice. I think it's somewhat of an underwhelming hire. Just, you know, and again, it's selfishly my own selfish desires who I wanted to see get the job. I wanted a splash. I wanted a guy that was I wanted a guy, Porter, to be fair and just to explain to you what, you know, I wanted a guy that didn't require a sales pitch. I wanted a guy that didn't require a spin zone for me to believe that he was a quality fit. With all that being said, though, and I made this point yesterday, Shane Beamer has shit out more football than I will ever know. So you really do, like you mentioned, especially after an 8-4 year and you close out the season with back-to-back top 10 wins, beat Tennessee, beat Clemson. You do have to trust Shane Beamer, and you know he's not just going to make a hire, you know, out of his ass, and he's not going to hire somebody that's completely incompetent. You know, your thoughts on the risk level, I guess, of the hire. I mean, do you view it as a home run slam dunk, or do you think it's kind of a 50-50 thing? Because again, I think Gamecock fans' biggest concern is just the resume. I mean, it's just the resume, man. They're just you can't, you know, you can't really point to anything and say, oh, well, this was a time where he had success calling the plays, because it's just never happened. You know what I mean? Like, what are your overall thoughts on the risk level of the hire?
If I was to say that there was no risk, I mean, that would be 100% just homer take. I mean, I can't come in here on your show or my show, anybody's show, and say that it's a home run hire. We don't know. I mean, this guy could be the best in the world. I mean, look at Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Thought he was going to be a splash hire. He's the sexy name. And then, of course, goes out and gets beat by Arkansas, then gets beat by Mississippi State. So, I mean, you never know. Look at Jimbo, Texas A&M. I mean, the big money, all the recruits. What has he done? So you can't guarantee anything in college football. We know that. But I just know what he can do to develop, and especially if you get a staff and to be on the fair point of where your fans are sitting, again, y'all are where you're at this year where we were last year, coming off this 9. So, yes, there is that. Yeah, we had a great year, but now where do we go from here? You know, you had the win over Tennessee. You had the win over Clemson. So now are we going to be this flash in the pan, or are we going to keep going? You know, and that's where I think it's going. And I don't know really consistency of you being an SEC East team, but I know with the addition of OU and Texas coming in certainly as early as 2024, that adds a little bit more pressure to SEC teams of getting ahead of the curve on the recruiting game with Texas and OU coming in.
How excited would you be to watch a Loggins Rattler 2023? I mean, again, you already mentioned that the pro style type deal, and a lot would be put on Spencer Rattler's plate. But it sounds like, I mean, if he were to come back, it would be a great, he'd have a great opportunity to have some major success under Loggins next season.
Yeah, it would be interesting because I'm rooting for the guy. You know, it's one of them things that I want him to be successful because there's, like I said, there's nothing better than the guy with a chip on his shoulder that had something to prove. And he wants to prove that. And he's catching a lot of heat from his own new fan base now. But you know what? That's warranted until you win. Winning cures all. If this guy comes in and lights it on fire, we're going to forget we even had this conversation.
Right.
But I won't forget. As I said in the mentions, you know, I just have a lot of faith in the guy because the sexy name does not always get you to where you go. It gets you in the press, the press room and the post game and the talks. But where does it get you, especially in nowadays where you got to keep not only your high school recruits, you got to keep your team that you have already locked in. You need a guy that can win the locker room first. That was my biggest point of this whole thing. He's going to win that locker room over, and then he's going to work on the fans. He's going to know the task at hand. He's not saying he don't care about the fans. But his thing is he's going to worry about getting his team to believe in what he wants to do, and then he'll worry about the fans later.
Now, I think one of the biggest selling points too, Porter, for Dowell Loggins is that he is an elite recruiter. Just talk about his history as a recruiter, because again, he's pulled some top-notch talent into Arkansas.
You know, like I said, I mean, when you look at the recruiting rankings before, I mean, they were in the 30s and the 40s, and I know a lot of that had to do with the Chad Morris era. But you know, when you're bringing 4 stars in to Arkansas, I know. To the elite programs, that's just a whatever year. But to Arkansas, that's a lot. And when you bring 4 stars in the same class, you're in the 16th rank coming in. We'll see. And as I looked in your comments, you know, our top tight end just entered the portal. And I'm telling you right now, you're getting a hybrid. He come in as wide receiver. They moved him to tight end. If he works on his blocking, I'm just going to go full disclosure. If the guy works on his blocking, Trey Knox is going to be a guy that can be a huge success for a team like South Carolina because Dow knows how to use him. And especially in that offense with Rattler, you always have your receivers. But I say if you have 3 levels of an offense, your deep threat, your slant guys, and then your tight ends in the middle, that's going to be huge. But he can bring in, and you give him the talent pool that you have out there in South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina. I mean, the sky's the limit on what he's got. It's just what he does with it.
Yeah. I'm glad you bring that up too, Porter, because it's, where the transfer portal taketh, it also giveth. We've seen Jaheim Bell hit the portal, and he's now committed to Florida State or going to FSU. Trey Knox from Arkansas, and I think – per sources, if you will, but it's one of those worst kept secret type deals where I think Trey Knox is going to end up being a Gamecock and following Dowell Loggins to Columbia. So I know you just touched on it, but it sounds like that South Carolina fans, you believe, should be really excited for the player they're getting. And I think he could be an adequate replacement, if not even better than Jaheim Bell was this past season.
He was the guy that I said at the beginning of the year that I wanted him to have a breakout year. We've seen glimpses of what he can do. I mean, he's just that. Other than the blocking, that is his only downside. And like I said, without knowing what type of offense that Dow's going to be running, we don't know if that's even going to be a problem because they stretch him out to a slot. The blocking's not really going to come that much into play. But if he goes in, NFL style runs the ball, he's going to have to bring him in. But he gained 50 pounds over the last offseason. The guy has shown that he will put in what it takes to get. So you can't dog the guy too much on blocking because, one, he had to get his body ready for a tight end. Now let's get his skills up to where he can be a blocking tight end because, that's not an easy stretch to say you're putting on 50 pounds to get ready to be a tight end.
Porter, I appreciate you taking the time, man. It's always a pleasure to chat with you, and obviously we value the insight on our new offensive coordinator. Last thing before I get you out of here, just from one college football fan to another, Your overall thoughts on just the madness that is the portal, NIL, everything that's been happening over the last couple of weeks. I know, obviously, again, it's affecting Arkansas. I know you've seen on the South Carolina side of things with Bell, Marshawn Lloyd. The Gamecocks doing what they can to put together NIL collectives to keep a guy like Spencer Rattler in town. But, your just overall thoughts, again, as a fellow SEC fan on what's kind of going down in college football.
I love it. I mean, being a content guy, you know it. I know it. I would be crazy to say that I didn't love this time of year, because if it wasn't for the transfer portal or this early sign-up period, what would we have to talk about for a month leading up to the bowl games? I mean, it's just amazing seeing the names go in and out and the speculation, and along with the coaching searches. I mean, everything balled up. What better Christmas present is it than to get to talk to football for 3 weeks and absolutely know nothing about what's going on until it really happens? So, I mean, it gives the fans something to talk about, chatter about, gives us stuff to talk about. It gets us to chop back and forth on what's going on between our programs. And it's crazy how the two teams haven't played that much, but it seems like we're more connected than a lot of other schools that we do play every year.
Yeah, it's interesting. Fayetteville to Columbia and vice versa is becoming sort of a pipeline, it almost feels like. But, no, Porter, I appreciate you taking the time, man. It's like I said, it's always a pleasure to chat with you, and thank you so much for the insights. I know that our fan base and Gamecock Nation most certainly appreciates it as, again, we continue to learn about our new offensive coordinator. But best of luck. Who do you guys have in the bowl game again? What bowl?
We got Kansas. We got Kansas. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all are doing Missouri's dirty work and actually playing them.
And see, I got family in South Carolina, so I mean, it's always been Arkansas. So you know what? Maybe if Arkansas beats them, the people at the jockey lot can stop saying Arkansas. You know what I'm saying?
Is there any hatred with Arkansas and Kansas? Is there any
No, because we ain't played since, I think they said 1906 or 1920.
Oh, wow.
They won't play them in basketball, but there's never really been a connection. It's just, I don't know, because Arkansas come from the old Southwest Conference of playing Texas and Rice and SMU to the SEC. So there was never really any, but I mean, Kansas has never really been that big of a program. So we'll see. But we've lost a lot to the transfer portal, so it'll just be a glorified scrimmage practice for us.
Yeah. Bowl season's got a whole new meaning, it seems like. Porter,
Yes,
again,
sir.
I appreciate you taking the time, man. Let's definitely chat again soon for sure.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much. That was Porter Hayes of the Hog Talk. Really good stuff. And again, I appreciate him taking the time and giving us some, just giving us some insight on Dowell Loggins and what we can expect from him. And how do y'all feel? How do y'all feel better? Do y'all feel worse? I got to be honest. I don't know. I don't know how much I love the NFL style comments. It feels very similar to what we heard with the last OC, but I don't know. Let Loggins cook. Let Loggins cook. Let Loggins cook. Why not? Guys, we'll go ahead and jump into a quick break. On the other side, tons of more of your questions, your comments, your calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. Again, I want to say thank you to Porter from the Hog Talk, taking time to chat and give us some insights on the Gamecocks' new OC, Dowell Loggins. Phone lines are once again open. I see some of you calling in, 843-790-3377. You're more than welcome to call in. Guys, of course, do not forget, tonight, we are doing our bowl game simulation on NCAA on this TV right here, but we will stream it live on YouTube, 8 o'clock kickoff. And yes, I will have the rosters updated to where all the guys that have opted out on both sides will not be playing. So that'll be a lot of fun. Let's jump back to the phone lines.
Call from
Hunter.
Hunter, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I had a couple questions. So one, when is Shane Beamer going live?
Shane Beamer will not go live today. There is no there's no presser schedule for today.
Okay. So yeah, I've seen somebody else said something about like he was going live tomorrow, but I just didn't know if that was true. It said like tomorrow at 10 a.m.
I would imagine. I don't know. I mean, if it's been scheduled, I doubt he goes live that early. But I would imagine that they're approving the contract today for Dowell Loggins. I would imagine probably tomorrow, sometime in the afternoon, maybe that he would have his introductory presser. But I mean, that's purely a guess. I don't know. I mean, South Carolina will announce. They will announce when they're going to announce him. So yeah, just stay tuned. But yeah. So.
And one more question: are they still looking after that North Carolina State transfer? I guess that QB. I'm not sure what his name is.
As far as I know, again, I don't really have any inside detail on it, but yeah, I mean, based off what was reported yesterday, they are in communication with him. So I just think obviously they want to have a backup plan in case Spencer Rattler does not return next year.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, that's all I need. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, Hunter, I appreciate the call, man. Thanks so much. Again, guys, phone lines wide open. Like I said, the simulation tonight podcast will drop tomorrow. Hey, it's going to be game day tomorrow, by the way, for the Courtcocks. They return to action, taking on UAB on the road, 7 o'clock tip-off. Let's see what crazy channel that game's on, because all these non-conference CBS Sports Network. Okay, all these non-conference basketball games early on in the season, they're all on like funky channels or whatever. How about the women play Thursday? They play on ESPN2. Got South Dakota State, so I'm sure they'll win by a zillion. Men then return to action Saturday against East Carolina. We'll actually be in attendance for that one because it's here in Greenville. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing Gigi Jackson in person. Going to be a lot of fun. Let's see. Again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Justin says, I sent you a text message. All right, we will get into that. Let's see. Justin says, it is what it is. I'm not happy about this hire. I will support Dowell Loggins. We have to trust the process. Hashtag RIP Mike Leach. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's obviously, as I said yesterday, and I've really kind of already voiced my opinions on it. I gave my immediate reaction yesterday to the hire, guys. Is it a suspect hire? Is it questionable? Is it a major risk? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, obviously it's Beamer ball to the moon. And I support Beamer. And, I just hope – I'm certainly not going to label a guy guilty before he's even called a single play. You know what I mean? I do not operate in a guilty until proven innocent type of mindset. You know what I mean? So I just say that hopefully Dowell Loggins has his greatest stint as a college offensive coordinator ever, or just as an offensive coordinator ever. We all hope it happens, and hopefully Shane Beamer sees something that we don't see, and we just kind of go from there. So Andrew Witten says, say Slapdick. That's my favorite part. Slapdick, what's up, man? What's up, Slapdick? Pipe down, Slapdick. Let's see. Anyways, yeah, I thought some really interesting feedback, though, from Porter Hayes. And, guys, again, we can continue to talk. It's crazy, like I said, how because of the portal and NIL, like the Dowell Loggins hire, it's still a big deal, but it almost feels like it was like the third most important story yesterday. I think what's really interesting, guys, getting back to NIL, though, our favorite topic. The NIL collectives, and they all do a great job, from Carolina Rise to the Garnet Trust to, Park Avenue, what they're doing for USC. The NIL collectives, I applaud and admire what South Carolina is doing in that space. But, what I think is so interesting is from the fan perspective and the fan side of things, I think you're going to see a bit of a divide, right? I think you're going to see a bit of a divide in regards to the feelings on NIL and the approach to NIL. Because I think you've got one side, and you see them and you hear them on social media, right? We got to give more. We got to give more. Give. Keep pumping money into NIL. That's why these guys are leaving. We got to give more. And then you got this other side that doesn't feel like it should be their obligation to put South Carolina football players on their payroll, right? I talked to somebody yesterday that said, yeah, I had a conversation with my dad, and I asked him, I said, are you going to give any money to the collectives? He said, hell no. I'm a Gamecock fan, and I will pull for whoever Shane Beamer puts out on the field next season. But I'm not giving a dime of my money to an 18 to 22-year-old kid. That's just coming from a lifelong Gamecock fan. Not from me, not from anyone in my family, obviously, but somebody I talked to yesterday who I'm very close with. So you've got two very different sides of thinking there. And I just wonder which side over the long haul kind of wins out, if you will. So, yeah, I mean, it's just NIL is it's a reality of college football, but it's one that I think we not many of us are a huge fan of, at least the way that it's happening. Travis Lee says, don't pay that electric bill this month. You got to keep Nick Eamon-Warry around. Lance Player says, is Nick leaving too? I've heard rumors. People I've talked to have said that it's not happening. So I'm not freaking out. I don't know where the Nick Eamon-Warry rumors started. I have seen nothing concrete that makes me believe that Nick Eamon-Warry is on the way out. I've seen nothing. Josh, how does Lloyd go from recruiting for us to enter the portal in a matter of a couple of days? I mean, that's a great question. I tell you what I don't like, too, and I'm just going to say this, man. I don't like the families of Lloyd and Bell. If you want to say something, just say it. If you want to say something, say it. But this insinuating that stuff's toxic and just leaving everything to mystery, like, if you're bold enough to insinuate on social media that there's some bigger reason why these players left and things are toxic at Carolina, just go ahead and say it. Just go ahead and say it. Either spill it all or just keep your mouth shut. What do you gain? What do you gain out of that? What do you gain out of it? Like, I know there's no gratitude from some of the parties, some of the people that have hit the portal. There's no gratitude at all. But maybe have a little bit of gratitude for the fact that you were given the opportunity, which it is an opportunity that you should be grateful for. You were given the opportunity to play football at the University of South Carolina. And the way that you pay it back and say thank you is take parting shots on your way out. I'm not a fan of that. If you're going to say it with your chest. Go ahead and just get it out there. Air out the dirty laundry. If you're going to air it out, I mean, you've obviously got no problem in insinuating things are happening, so why not just say it? Why not just say it? Fill us all in. We'd love to know. I don't rock with that. I just don't, you know what I mean? Like, why do that? Stand on business. Yeah, I had some guy reply to me, I think in the Jaheim Bell camp, and said, like, you getting all in your emotions. You trying to get people to like you. I said, bro, my responses to you are not emotional. I'm just standing on business. That's it. Ain't nothing about my responses or my takes on the situation. What I said last week, which, by the way, I appreciate Jaheim Bell retweeting it because it's got like 45,000 views. I just stood on business, and I'll continue to stand on business. And like I said, Carolina should stand on business. Stand on business. I mean, it ain't, and it's nothing personal. Like, I have no ill feelings toward either of these players. I just don't like the families going on social media and like throwing these subtle shots and insinuating there's something bigger going on behind the scenes. It's this, it's that. Well, say what it is. Like, stop throwing these. You know, like who are you benefiting? Who are you benefiting? That's why I said prayers to Mike Norvell, because he's the one that's got to deal with it now. So I'm sure Shane Beamer's relieved. Let's see. Lex says, Garnet Trust farewell party, RIP. At least I got my goodbyes. What happened? What happened at the Garnet Trust party? Like maybe that's what we need to know. Those are the questions we probably should be asking. What happened? Because my goodness, I don't know. Somebody texts in, when do you think men's basketball will make the tournament? I mean, tough to say, but I will go with, I'll give it 3 years, 2 to 3 years. I don't know. It's tough to say. It just depends on who we recruit, who we bring in. Yeah. Let's see. Anyways, we will be fine. South Carolina football will be fine. We can go get guys that can fill the voids. The Marshawn Lloyd one surprised me. I'm not going to lie to you. That one, I'd love to know what happened, because that one's really surprising. And I mean, I had Lloyd on my show when he committed. Right when he committed, and I got nothing bad to say about the kid. Like, by all accounts, I think he's a great dude. I think he's a great kid. Has a good head on his shoulders. I don't know what happened behind closed doors. We've all heard and see the rumors at this point of, he sort of just left his teammates out in the dark. He left his coaches out in the dark. He just didn't say anything. And, that's surprising. That's surprising, to say the least. I will say this, guys, and I said this yesterday, but I'll say it again. I think the thing that you can take comfort in, nothing that happens with this football program is a surprise to Shane Beamer. Shane Beamer's in control of it all. So you really do, right? And we obviously react to things, critique things. We give our thoughts on things, but you do really, at the end of the day, have to trust Shane Beamer. You just have to trust Beamer that he is pulling all the strings behind closed doors. He's putting it all together. He's going to put a roster together, right? Like he's going to put the best possible product out there on the field for next season. And the bottom line is this: amidst all this chaos, practice starts in 2 days, and we have the opportunity to win our 9th game of the season and win a bowl game and beat Notre Dame. So, things could be much worse. Things could be much worse. And I tell myself that too, in regards to, you just have to trust Shane Beamer and just kind of, this is the new reality, this chaos, the portal, NIL. It's just the new reality. And, we could continue to go on and on and on and on and on about it, but it is what it is. And you can either adapt or die. That's really what it comes down to. So let's see. Coach Ford, I'd love to hear your thoughts, Coach Ford. He says, Beamer just hired a guy with 0 resume, SMH. So let me ask you this thing, Coach Ford. How do you feel about Beamer now? Because I know Coach Ford was someone, he's going to call it as he sees it. Hey, he said from the jump he was off Will Muschamp. He knew Satterfield was a slapdick when he was hired, all that type of stuff. So what do you think? Do you think Beamer is doomed now? Is it over? Is it over for Beamer? I'm just curious. Brian Dean, it would be huge if we got Rocket Sanders. It would be very huge. Josh says, I just don't understand if they're all so bought in. Why are they leaving? I think Beamer needs to speak on what's going on soon. Well, Beamer's going to speak, I think, when Loggins is officially hired. So I would imagine he will say something. I don't know how he could do a press conference and not speak on the movement and changes to his roster. I don't know how he could not touch on it. But, you know. Yeah, I mean, I just, you know, I don't know, guys. The portal giveth, the portal taketh away, you know. But the Marshawn Lloyd news was surprising, to say the least. Again, guys, phone lines are open, 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. We got a text here. So sick of hearing you whine and whine. If you know so much, you should go. You should get you a coaching job. You sound ridiculous day in and day out. It's more fun on this side, just talking shit, to be honest with you. My guy, if you have an actual point to make, the phone lines are open, or you could text in the point, because I don't even know why. All we do, hey, again, we apply pressure here, man. We don't take things at face value. We don't just paint it sunshine and rainbows because it's got a block C on there because it's painted garnet and black. I mean, if you don't like real takes and real criticism and real thoughts on things, I stay in the middle, my friend. I give credit where credit's due, and I also critique and criticize and talk about things as they are, not as I wish them to be. So there are other entities out there for you that will blow smoke up your ass, and they'll stroke your ego, and they'll tell you exactly what you want to hear. But this ain't the show for you if that's what you're looking for. And and it's an upstater too, an 864 number. So probably somebody I've run across in my time up here in the upstate. So I mean, I gave, you know, I literally just said trust in Beamer, right? Like Beamer's leading us where we want to go. But yeah, you hire a guy that's had 4 or 5 failed stints as an OC in the NFL, and he's never called a play at the college level. Yeah, my guy. Yeah, my 864 guy. I'm gonna have something to say about that. So, but you're more than welcome to call in if you want a voice. We can have the banter. The beauty's in the banter. I'm not telling you I'm right. I'm just giving you my honest opinion and assessment and evaluation on things. See, it's funny to me when people chime in and they think I'm nothing but negative and all I do is whine. All that tells me is you don't pay attention to the content. You don't actually tune in. You hear 1 clip or 2 clips or 3 clips or whatever. You hear a couple of clips and people say all his content is negative. You're just not tuned in. You don't listen to the podcast. You don't tune in the live show. You don't look at all the content on social media. You pick and choose what you want to hear. That's it. Now, again, my content is going to side much more on the side of, again, challenging things, challenging authority, not just taking things for what they are, not taking things at face value, not just blindly falling in line and saying, well, you know, it's all good because Coach Beamer's leading the way and I'm not going to question anything or I'm a slapdick. It's like, no, you're a slapdick if you don't question anything. You're a slapdick if you fall in line like a mindless zombie. So, my guy, again, if you have a point to make, you can text in if you like. If you have a point to make, you can call in. But to say that I just whine constantly, I whine when there's a reason to do so. But the notion of if you know so much, I'm not telling you. I literally said Shane Beamer shit out more football than I'll ever know. I'm not telling you I know more about football than Shane Beamer. Never would I ever do that. But I'm not a chef, and I know when the food tastes like shit. And I'm not saying the food tastes like shit because we ain't had any of it yet, but it do smell a little bit funky. That food do be smelling funky when you look at Loggins' resume. That's very fair to say. The food smell funky. I just hope it tastes good. That's it. We're gonna let Loggins cook. We don't have a choice. I'm just hoping the food don't taste like shit. That's it. Oh man, gotta respond to a slapdick. Gotta respond to a slapdick. Let's see. Coach Ford says Beamer hired Satterfield. Rest my case. Coach Ford, say it with your chest. What are you trying to say, my guy? I don't understand what you're trying to say. You got to spell it out for me. We're just hoping it don't taste like it smells. Good point. Very good point. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
Robbie Davis, Zaxby's Hall of Famer.
You know what? Don't smell funky or taste funky. That's Zaxby's food. What's up, Robbie?
What's up, bro? Listen. That dude right there, he ain't being no slap dick. He's just being a dick. Okay. All right. Like, is your life that boring that you like to just start shit? That's my is that person's life that boring that they like to start stuff?
I mean, it is what it is. Hey, the beauty's in the banter, my guy. Like I said, beauty's in the banter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I actually just finished watching the YouTube video of UAB. Okay, and I know you're wanting to talk about football and everything, but UAB is good. Okay, if we do not play as a unit against UAB, we will lose. Plain and simple. Okay. But anywho,
Indeed.
I have said this 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 more times. I believe in Beamer. Okay, he is doing the best he can with the tools he's got. Okay, he's doing the best he can with the tools he's got and with the mechanics that he's got. Because like I've said before, if there's something wrong with an engine, if it's a specific thing, you ain't going nowhere. If the belt goes out, you ain't going nowhere. You're gonna be stranded. Okay? You're gonna be stranded and gonna go nowhere. I truly believe that Beamer is going to fix everything, and he will get it done come Hades or high water.
I tend to agree. I mean, what you could do is trade that car in and get you a new model, but I hear you. Yeah. Anyways, no, I agree. Hey.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes your only option is to buy the parts and put in the parts and just pray you put them in correctly.
Sometimes you just got to let
And
Loggins.
if you don't put them in correctly, then you got to start all over again.
You got to let Loggins cook. You got to let Loggins cook, my guy.
Just let Loggins cook. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now, dude, I don't know anything about this Loggins dude, right? I don't really care. All right. All I'm going to do is what I've done ever since Beamer was hired, and that is trust in Beamer. And like I have said before on these airways, there's only two men I trust: God and Shane Beamer. Okay. And he will fix it. And it's going to take a minute, especially with the new OC coming in. It's going to take a minute. All right. It ain't going to be all sunshine and rainbows when the new OC gets here, or if he's already here or what have you. Okay. It's not going to be easy because they got to learn a new system, figure out which players work in the system, and go from there.
To inject some perspective, Robbie, it's funny because you're not the only one, by the way, that said like Beamer's going to get it right, he's going to fix it. And I'm like, we just went 8-4. I mean, is it broken?
Right?
Is it broken? We did just go 8-4 and beat Clem Sucks.
No.
Is it broken?
We did go 8-4. We did go 8-4. Possibly going to be 9-4 if we beat Notre Dame, because of course, like I've always said, you got to line up and play. You don't win a football game on paper. Okay. We've got to capitalize off of the momentum we had the last 2 weeks of the season, even though yes, it's going to be over a month before we've played again. But one of the things that concerns me, especially when bowl season rolls around, is whenever you have that month or so off and you ain't playing a game or nothing, is coming out sluggish. That's what scares me.
I think we'll be fired up. I think we'll be motivated. I think you're going to have a lot of guys that have not played this season that are going to get an opportunity because of the transfers and stuff like that. And Robbie, I want to hear your thoughts, my guy, on the transfer portal and the NIL and the stuff like that.
Okay,
because I feel like Robbie Davis is a loyalty guy. I could be wrong. Go ahead, take it away, my guy. Take it away.
I'm loyal to a dang
Cook 'em,
fault,
Robbie. Cook 'em.
okay?
Cook 'em.
I'm loyal to a dang fault. I don't care if we go if by some miracle the college football season went to 13 or 14 games, right? We could go 0-14. I ain't going nowhere, okay? I'm not going anywhere, okay? Nowhere.
What you gonna tell Florida State if they
I'm
come
in it
offer
for
you
the
$1
long
million?
haul. I don't give a damn.
What you gonna tell Florida State if they come offer you $1 million, Robbie? You ain't going nowhere.
If they offer me $1 million,
$1 million. We come play for us for a year for
I'll
$1 million.
Shoot ya. I need the money, bruh.
I thought you were a loyalty guy.
I'm just kidding.
He said we can lose every game. I ain't going nowhere. But if they throw me the bag, I'm gone. I'm gone. God.
No,
hey, thank you for being real. Thank you for being genuine, and thank you for being honest.
No, I was just kidding. I wouldn't go nowhere. I'm a loyalty fella. I'm a loyalty guy, for real. I wouldn't go nowhere. If I was playing anywhere, I'm like, I made the decision to play here. I'm gonna stick it out and just deal with it.
Robbie, I love you, Robbie. But you said what you said, my guys. You going? How about $1 million? You said I'm gone. I continue. Just I love that, Robbie.
But anyways, but my opinion on the transfer portal, okay? I think if you transfer to a school that is in the same conference that you are that you've already played in, okay, I think you should be allowed to play right away, okay? But if you transfer to another conference, you have to sit out a year.
Hold on. So you said if they transfer where?
If you transfer in conference.
Okay.
If they transfer out of conference, then they have to sit out a year.
Okay.
But if they transfer in conference, they can play right away. It doesn't matter. That's what I would.
I think you mean to reverse that. I think you mean to reverse it. If they transfer out of conference, I'd let them play. If they're in conference, if they go from Carolina to Georgia, I think they should sit out.
Yeah, that makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense. Although the first time I said it, it sounded good in my head. But now that you said it, it did not, and I reversed it in my head. But yeah, that does make a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense. But and I just, Lordy Jesus, what a day!
Indeed, it's been a wild week.
Man, I had a freaking chaotic day yesterday. I couldn't call in yesterday because I was babysitting my nephew, making sure he didn't break nothing in my mama's house.
Hanging out with mama and him.
Yeah, I had to make sure he wasn't going to break nothing. I had to make sure he wasn't going to climb over the railing upstairs. It was crazy. But anywho, I think that, and like I said about, I said this about Satterfield, if I remember correctly. I feel the same way with Dowell Loggins, right? Yes, we didn't want a pro style kind of guy, but that's what we got. Okay. All right. That's what we got. build a bridge, get over it, and let's just see where it goes. Just because it didn't work with Satterfield doesn't mean it's not going to work with Dowell Loggins. Okay? It's just some people are not good coaches. Okay? Some people are just not good coaches. Sometimes in order to be if you're a OC or a DC at a school, right? You might do horribly at one school, but you wind up going to another school and you're freaking doing fantastic, right? So maybe, just maybe, Dowell Loggins is a perfect fit. We ain't gonna know until next September. We won't know if he's a good fit until next September. We'll find out come September, October, and November if he's a good fit. All right? Until then, just go with the flow, dadgummit, okay? The flow is going. Don't try to fight the current. Just go. Because if you fight the current, you're going to drown, okay?
Indeed. Robbie, one of your better calls to date, my guy. One of your better calls to date.
And by the way, I'm feeling much better, not coughing as much.
Good,
I'm feeling
good.
100 times better.
Mm-hmm.
My mom kept giving me drugs to try and make me feel better. Apparently they worked. But I think that and like you, best of luck to Bell and Lloyd. I mean, I hate that Lloyd's leaving. I hate Lloyd's leaving. Right?
You know what? Hey,
but,
you know what I said in our Big Cock Club Discord? I actually cited Robbie Davis. I said my message is, as great Robbie Davis says, don't let the door hit you with a good Lord split you. Big facts. Big facts. Big facts.
Those are facts.
Don't let it hit you.
Where the good load split you. Okay, don't let it hit you with a good load split you, and have a nice day.
Go with the flow, dadgummit.
Yeah, just don't. Yeah, just it is what it is, right? And honestly, if you try to make people happy, right? If you spend too much time trying to make other people happy, then you yourself will never be happy, right?
That's true.
That's a fact, okay? And to the slap dick that sent you that text message, okay, don't try and put a damp on everybody else's day just because you're pissed off about something, okay? Whatever you pissed off about, it'll pass, okay? As my dad told me one time, when you're having a bad day, it's like a kidney stone. It'll pass, okay?
Indeed. I like that. This too shall pass.
And it's crazy that people are freaking out about the whole transfer portal thing and about our player going to the transfer portal. And I said this several weeks ago, did I not? The transfer portal is a thing. Transferring is a thing. Okay. NIL is a thing. All we can do is just sit back and watch this thing. We do not have control over who stays and who goes.
Mm-hmm.
That's decisions that they have to make as people. Now, do I think there are a lot of players that make decisions a little too harshly? Yes. But my advice is whenever you're thinking about, I'm laughing at you on the TV right now, but if you're thinking about transferring, right, my advice, pray about it. If God tells you to transfer, then dadgummit, do it. Because there's only one man that knows best, and that's God Almighty himself.
Preach, Reverend. Preach, Reverend. Yes, sir. Robbie, I appreciate you, my guy. We're going to squeeze one last break in here. Legendary call, my dude. Legendary.
No problem. You have a great rest of your day, and I'm hoping to go to Duke's Barbecue this weekend. I want me some Duke's Barbecue. I'm craving me some barbecue.
Why not? I love it.
You have a great rest of your day. Go Cox, beat Notre Dame, and go Vols!
I love it. You the man, Robbie. We'll talk soon.
Only time you'll hear me say go Vols.
Go Vols, indeed. Yes. All right, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. Yep.
Great stuff. Robbie Davis, what a legend. Back in 5, guys. More of your questions, comments, calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Just a couple minutes to go. Apologies for the late break, guys. So I mean, you obviously know the reason I take breaks. I drink a lot of water, so bathroom breaks are necessary. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I was dying there at the end of that Robbie Davis call. But no, I appreciate you all. Thank y'all so much for rolling with the punches. Great show today. Really exciting. It looks like the board of trustees has reached their athletics contracts portion of the agenda. So updates are to come. I would assume that Dowell Loggins will officially have his contract approved. Let's see. We have a text here. So I trust Beamer and with this hire, I'll take a wait and see approach. Beamer's our guy. After a day to sleep on, I've decided we're in a much better spot than when Muschamp and with Spurrier's last year's. We're like every other college fan base. There's no longer an all shucks kids game. It's big boy business, and huge salaries deserve criticism. These guys understand this. I'm curious about the new OC salary compared to others. I hope Ray doesn't give this guy a huge contract, and I hope it's layered with incentives. Yeah, I mean, I like that too. I like that too. And I mean, listen, guys, the end of the day is this. And I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. I'm going to be critical and give my honest assessment of this offensive coordinator hire, of this hiring of Dowell Loggins. But I mean, I fall in that same boat. I trust Shane Beamer. I mean, and you have to, right? Like we all believe Shane Beamer is the guy, right? He is the guy for South Carolina football. So if you believe that, which we all do, then you have to trust his decision-making. And I said it yesterday. I think Shane Beamer should have the freedom to run his program how he sees fit. And so that includes hiring, firing, whatever. So, I trust Shane Beamer. I trust that he sees something that we do not. And it seems like this was his guy from the jump. So he obviously feels confident in it. He's obviously convicted to hire him. And, obviously, again, you just hope that it plays out the way that we all hope it does. I don't know. It'll just be interesting to see. It's just I understand the hesitation. I understand guys, I feel it too. I feel a bit underwhelmed. It's a questionable, I should say, hire. But like we just had. I know John said he's late. John, we had a Porter from the Hog Talk on, which is an Arkansas podcast, and he gave some great perspective on Dowell Loggins and all the positives, but, I think the one thing that probably made us cringe a little bit was him talking about Dowell Loggins runs an NFL scheme and it's going to be great for Rattler. And I'm like, God, did we not just hear this? I was like, did we not just hear this? It just felt very similar. But again, you got to trust Shane Beamer. You have to trust Shane Beamer and go from there. And, we'll just see what happens. Guys, we've hit 2:00. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Hey, stay tuned to all the content, of course. Content bleeding out the eyeballs as this OC thing continues to evolve. And as we've all seen, man, there's no sleepy days with the NIL and the transfer portal. Who knows what is coming through the pipeline. Guys, again, thank you all so much. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.